Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another anime figure unboxing and review video. That's right, today we're going to be continuing our looks at some anime property based figures with none other than the Figma Izuku Midoriya, also known as Deku. Now recently I was sent a haul from Bandai and I unboxed it on a live stream on the channel. I was then encouraged to check out My Hero Academia, which I did. I watched it and I absolutely loved it. Through and through, I've seen the entire series, plus both films. I cannot wait for Season 5 to eventually be released in its entirety. I'm super darn excited. Which means, of course, I had to go down the rabbit hole of picking up the highest quality versions that I could find. And I stumbled across the Figma line. While it's nowhere near as expansive as the McFarlane line is to date, it's still got a couple of the main cast and crew, so I couldn't be more excited to unbox them. Therefore, I thought, let's start with Midoriya here. I do have the rest: Kachan, Todoroki, Red Riot, and also Uraraka. They will be coming up very soon on the channel, plus, for good measure, the amazing Yamaguchi All Might, so definitely stay tuned and let me know if you enjoyed this review down in the comments below, because that'll influence how quickly I get those videos done. What we are going to do now though is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. And here of course we have the box art for Deku himself. Figure right up front and center with this black strip along the bottom. You can see the Figma model number as well as the My Hero logo. You do have a product shot on the side and a bunch more on the back. Now weirdly enough, with all subsequent My Hero releases, they actually shrunk the box size down. Here you can see Kachan's box and it's surprisingly smaller. They kept that going with the future products, but now when you do have them all stacked up in the shelf, if that's something you want to do, there's going to be a height discrepancy only with Deku. Super weird, not exactly sure why they didn't rectify that with the reissue of this guy, because of course they did end up reissuing him when the other figures got slightly more popular. Now I've never actually owned a Figma release before, so I'm not exactly sure what to expect. I've been told by other anime figure collectors that they are relatively decent products, so that is definitely a good thing. But here we have him, and first in-hand impressions are, this guy is a little dude, but of course he's supposed to be a kid, so that does make sense. Now we will of course be doing a comparison to the much larger McFarlane figure later on in the video. Now you can see he does come with a few accessories, with a bunch more down below here. So what we are going to do now is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. And here we have all of the bits and pieces that come with Deku. Let's start off by taking a look at the display base first, because of course, yeah, Good Smile Company decided to give us display bases, which is weird because with Bandai Tamashii Nations we almost never get them, so for that I'm really darn appreciative. You can see multiple points of articulation, and if you do want your Deku at a more extreme angle, you can install this piece on the end to give it a little bit of an added kick there. You do of course get a bunch of hands, and what's cool about what Figma have done here with this little section is that when you install the hands on the body, the holes, or I should say the peg holes, have already been widened because all of these are the exact same size as the wrist pegs. I really do like that. You can see he does come with his 5% all-for-one flick hand, fists, and also some open hands. Now, a really weird accessory, but I guess it kind of makes sense when you think about it, are these little gel stickers. They can either be used as tears or sweat drops. It kind of makes sense, I guess, because this is Deku's Season 1 appearance, and he spent a lot of the first season crying, so you can of course make use of these. He was a little bit insufferable to me in the first season, but he got a hell of a lot better. You do also get a Figma accessory storage bag. I love these storage bags. Mezco of course does it, and Figma does it as well. You do get 2 interchangeable faceplates. This one, of course, you can apply some tears or some sweat drops to, but it's his shocked face, and then you do get a fired up angry face. Let me know which is your favorite down in the comments below. The final accessory, that I guess isn't really much of an accessory, more is part of his outfit, is the faux smile. This is technically part of his mask that, when he pulls it up, makes it look like he's smiling like All Might. Unfortunately, as I said earlier, I didn't get the exclusive, so I don't have the swap out masked head, but nevertheless, I do have this piece and it looks pretty darn awesome. Has a bit of a smoked, transparent look towards the top there, and the teeth are nicely painted and sculpted. What we are going to do now though is get Deku himself out here and take a closer look. And here we have him standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. And yeah, that's Deku from Class 1A. So far, this being my first figure that I've taken a look at in the line, I'm super impressed. I love the sculpt, I love the paint applications, and I love the fact that he literally is a shrunk down version of Deku that's been ripped right out of the screen and put in front of me in plastic format. Figma definitely have nailed the aesthetic of the figure. More on that in just a second. Now I know you're probably wondering, how on earth does this stack up alongside the cheaper alternative, the McFarlane version? Stay tuned, I will be doing the comparisons throughout the course of this video, but so far, this guy is definitely taking the cake for me personally as the best version of Deku that I've personally ever owned in action figure format. What we are going to do now though is take him off the rotating turntable, punch in, and take a closer look at the details. And here we have him up close and personal. And just like my first impressions, I'm pretty darn impressed. He looks darn near perfect in plastic format. While there are a couple of things which granted they could have done better, just on the offset, if someone showed you this, would you not say, hey, that's Deku from My Hero Academia, because that's exactly what he is. Now, I still don't, as yet, have the amazing Yamaguchi version. I will be trying to pick that up. If you have one out there in the viewing audience and you're looking to sell it, let me know, because I'm curious. I want to pick it up and review it on the channel and compare it to this guy. Now, right off the bat, let's do a comparison to the McFarlane release, specifically around the head sculpt. This is their first Midoriya. They have gotten better, but as you can see, the likeness is just way off, especially compared to the Figma release. He looks far superior. Granted, he is a lot more expensive, but as I said, McFarlane have been getting better and better with their Deku figures, so I do think they could have done slightly better than this right here. Now, just like the other Figma releases, this version of Midoriya is wearing his Season 1 outfit. It's not my personal favorite outfit for him. My favorite is the Gamma suit, but it does have a bit of sentimental value, I suppose, because it was made by his mother. It's a little bit more simple, and the green is a little bit more bluish rather than this type of green right here, which is slightly darker. Still, it's a fantastic suit. I do like the later iterations, but this is kind of how he got into UA, wearing this suit, so I do really like it. Now, in order to change out the faces, you do have to remove this front hairpiece, just like we've seen on other Figma releases, and of course, with Dragon Ball style Figuarts releases, it's a very similar gimmick. Now, let's install his angry faceplate, because I think, so far, this one may be my favorite. I'll let you know towards the end of the video how my Deku is going to be displayed in the collection, because as of yet, I'm not entirely certain. I am leaning towards the angry faceplate though, because as you can see, you can tell he is very, very angry. I like how the eyes are just a white dot with a black circle around. You can definitely see the intensity of the stare there. It looks really, really good. You can see though, this piece is kind of free floating. I do wish it was pegged in at the back of the neck. That way it wouldn't get in your way when you're posing, but I guess because it's free floating, you can move it and sort of position it however you'd like. One bit of weirdness that I've noticed is this little slit here on the joint. I don't exactly know why that's there. I don't know why that couldn't be connected to this upper piece, but nevertheless, it isn't. It's quite peculiar. The rest of the outfit, though, is relatively simple. All this greenish blue color with the red belt. This is a free-floating piece, so it should get out of the way relatively easy when we do get to Articulation, which is coming up very soon. Moving down to the legs, you can see these big, bulky knee pads. A lot of protection is packed in down here. And then finally down here at his feet, his classic Midoriya red shoes. I really like the way these look with the laces tied up on the top there. A little bit oversized, just like his gloves. He kind of has a bit of a Sonic look about him, and I think it really does work. It also emphasizes that he's a smaller dude, and it makes sense. He's a kid in plastic format, so I get why they've done it. Overall though, I'm super impressed so far with the Figma Midoriya. Now for a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have the Figma Deku on the left, the McFarlane version in the center, and for good measure, the McFarlane version of All Might in my personal favorite outfit being the Silver Age costume. As you can see, he doesn't really work alongside his McFarlane self, and you'll probably notice that with the rest of the McFarlane line. But I do think he works quite nicely next to All Might. There isn't really a huge size difference between the McFarlane Deku and the All Might figure, whereas with the Figma one, you can definitely tell there is a significant height difference because he's a kid. That makes total sense. So for me personally, even though they are from different lines, I will be using my McFarlane villains, as well as the teachers, including Aizawa whenever he eventually comes out, and All Might, along with my Figma collection. Let me know what you think of this side-by-side comparison down in the comments below. Just going over Articulation on Deku. Now bear in mind, this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I'm sure when you get yours in hand, you can push the joints slightly further than I'm willing to go, but by all means, these are pricey releases, and I don't want to damage the paint on mine. Now starting off with the head sculpt itself, it does have a fairly decent range of motion. It does appear that there is a ball joint on a peg up in the neck there. As you can see, he does get the usual range of motion. You will have to fight this collar piece, however. Technically though, you could remove it if that's not something you'd like on your release. Now the arms themselves go out to about there. They are on ball joints which can get a surprisingly large range of motion, including a butterfly joint as well. You'd also have a swivel up there at that joint. You have another swivel down here, and a double bend at the elbow, which is incredibly stiff. You also do have a regular Figma style wrist joint for the hand itself, plus a swivel at the glove. The upper torso does have a ball joint style joint, and you do have one for the lower torso as well, and combined you do have a fairly decent range of motion. The legs themselves, because they are covered up by this rubbery style diaper piece, don't go forward a huge amount. I do believe though that you can sort of move it up slightly and get them to go a little bit higher. You can go out to about there. There is a swivel incorporated as well, but you also do have a double bend here at the knee and a swivel there also. So you do have multiple swivels. Down here at the foot, you guessed it, another swivel, and you do have a joint down here at the actual shoe base, which incorporates forward and back, and you do have a pivot side to side. The joints on mine though are incredibly stiff. You'd also have a toe point that can move forward and back. Just wrapping up on the Figma Izuku Midoriya from My Hero Academia. Now at the start of this video I said I didn't really know what to expect because I'd never owned any My Hero figures from Figma previously. But now at the end of this video I am super excited to start opening up the other releases because of course I've already picked them all up. So stay tuned to the channel for even more Figma My Hero Academia goodness because I cannot wait to see this line grow. I'm super impressed with the sculpt and paint applications and the accessories. Even though he doesn't come with a ton, I love the facial expressions and I love the hands. The flicking finger hand was one that was sorely missed in my opinion, from the McFarlane releases, and I'm super glad we got it here with this guy. The only stuff that I could honestly say was missing from this are some of the all-for-one quirk effect pieces that we got with, say, the amazing Yamaguchi version. That would have been a really nice touch here, but granted, in the Season 1 outfit, he didn't really have a lot of those energy effects all over him, so I can see why they didn't. Not making excuses though, they still would have been a really nice touch. Overall, is this my favorite plastic action figure version of Deku to date? Yeah, absolutely it is. If I can somehow, someway find a version of the Gamma suit from Yamaguchi, I reckon that one could take the top spot, but for now, this guy is definitely my go-to version of Deku from My Hero Academia in plastic format. Now, as I said, I picked up mine from a local store, so if you are trying to find this guy, try your local comic book stores or even eBay. There won't be any links, unfortunately, down in the description, because I don't really know where else to pick this guy up, but do some hunting and I reckon you can find him. If you are heading down to the description, check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the awesome Facebook group. Also, let me know if you do like these anime reviews, because I can definitely keep them coming. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.